Hello everybody and welcome back to the Strawberry Fields. Tokie sat cross-legged on the couch, guitar in hand, humming softly as she worked out the final verse of her new song. Her fingers moved with purpose as the lyrics about brave warriors and long-lost kingdoms floated from her lips. Across the kitchen, Kaori was elbow-deep in flour, rolling out doughs for mini pies and humming along with her sister's tune. It was the day of the engagement party and Kaori wanted everything to be perfect. Between stirring sauces and checking timers, Kaori paused to sit with Tokie. The girls leaned back to back, quiet for a moment, letting the closeness do the talking. They joked about the apartment's mysterious smell they never really solved, and they reminisced about their first day. When the ceiling leaked and the fire alarm went off, they weren't sure they could make it. But instead of tears, they let out laughter between the sips of teas, promising that they'd still bug each other every day, no matter the distance. Tokie ended up opening her laptop and letting all of her emotions out, finishing up that Fantasy World series that she was so excited about. Between stealing glances at the sisters and knowing smiles, it was clear this wasn't a goodbye. It was an end to an era, sure, but as the oven dinged and Tokie kept on typing, the apartment still buzzed with the magic of two girls who'd grown up side by side. The lights of the Stargazer Lounge twinkled just like the stars above, casting a soft, romantic glow over the rooftop. Champagne glasses clinked, appetizers disappeared in seconds, and laughter echoed between the pillars. Kaori and Wolfgang were inseparable, sharing whispered jokes and spinning each other in slow, clumsy dances that made everyone else grin. Kaori looked positively radiant, and Wolfgang was practically vibrating with adoration. It was their night. Tokie watched her twin glow with happiness. It wasn't sadness exactly, just longing that tugged at the edge of her smile. When she spotted Sun-Ki leaning against the bar, something bold sparked inside her. With a playful twirl, she marched over and plopped beside him, leaning against his shoulder with a grin. He looked down and became utterly smitten, and before either of them could think, their lips met with a sweet, laughter-filled kiss. It was soft and silly and tasted like lime soda and something more. As the party began to wind down, the guests had to put goodbye. Tokie found herself swept into Sun-Ki's hands as easily as the breeze carried music through the night air. He whispered something that made her snort, and with a wink, she followed him right out the lounge, giggling into the city lights. Whether it was the champagne or the romance, or maybe the thrill of that first kiss, Tokie didn't care. The first morning light poured through the dusty blinds of the apartment as Tokie shuffled into the kitchen in fuzzy socks and a half-tied robe. She clutched a mug filled with coffee. Kaori had already left, packed up and moved out with Wolfgang. And with a deep breath, Tokie settled in at her desk and cracked her knuckles dramatically before diving right into the next installment of her fantasy series. Words flowed like magic, and just like that, Tokie had maxed the writing skill. After a celebratory slice of leftover cake and a quick outfit change, Tokie skipped out the door for work, guitar slung over her back and a notebook tucked under her arm. The elevator smelled faintly of curry and dryer sheets, but Tokie didn't mind. She had a full heart, a full schedule, and a full brain of new ideas. This morning had been the start of something big. And as soon as Tokie walked into those doors, she heard the Humor and Hijinks Festival was in, and she really wanted to go on a date with Sun-Ki. The night started with fireworks, literally. as Tokie and Songki wander through the bright buzz and chaos of the Humor and Hijinks Festival. Laughter echoed from every corner, lanterns bobbed overhead, and they shared noodles under string lights like a pair of carefree, quirky rom-com leads. Everything was perfect. That is until the universe, or honestly it's just game mechanics, dropped a bomb. Tokie is pregnant. Her heart sank while Sungki's eyes lit up like he'd won the lottery. The silence between them buzzed louder than the festival fireworks. With the energy of the night shattered, they slipped away from the crowd and found themselves tucked into the quiet corner of a counseling office. Faces flushed, not from flirtation this time, but from the weight of the sudden life changes. Tokie could barely sit still, her fingers worrying the frayed hem of her sweater, while Sungki held her hand with a grin that didn't quite fit the mood. The counselor was calm and kind and offered space for Tokie and Sungki's joy, but this wasn't a part of the plan. Tokie ran off as soon as she could, and she needed a moment to decompress. There was a quiet echo of a future she hadn't quite imagined. She needed the stillness, but it is what it is, I suppose. The morning was soft and slow as Tokie buttoned up her favorite cardigan, her hair pinned in loose waves, nerves buzzing quietly beneath her calm surface. The doctor's visit was quick, but life-altering. She was having a healthy baby girl. Tokie stared at the sonogram photo in awe, her fingers trembling but slightly. She tucked it in her journal with care. Later, she invited Kaori over to the apartment, lighting a candle and setting out tea like it was any other sisterly catch-up. But as soon as Kaori walked through those doors, Tokie blurted out, "I'm pregnant!" Kaori's eyes went wide, but then they softened and showed a love that only a sister could offer. They spent the next hour curled up on the couch, laughing nervously and dreaming big, their bond growing even stronger under the weight of a shared surprise and support. After Kaori left, Tokie slipped into her work clothes and still had to go. She still was processing everything, but she needed this. She needed her work. She needed to write the music. She arrived at her job with the glow of new beginnings clinging to her like glitter, and somehow the universe rewarded her. By the end of the shift, she was officially promoted. She walked home in the dark, tired but beaming, one hand on her belly and the other gripping the promotion notice like proof she could do this. All of it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. It was a lot more than I expected. I'm happy that Tokie's having the baby, but I wanted more time alone with her. But oh well, it is what it is. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you're interested in more of the Love Wreck legacy. Stay safe and stay cozy. Bye!